Hello and welcome to another episode of Sharing is Caring. My name is Klaus Meisel from Agile Get Together, and today's guest is Ioana Ognibeni. Ioana is a freelance product manager and coach, and we are talking today about the interpretation of agility and how the product owner role changed in the last decade. But before we start, Ioana, a very warm welcome. Great that you are here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Klaus.
And yeah, maybe you can tell the audience some more about yourself, what you did, what you're doing now, and so they get to know you a little better.
All right, so I'm Ioana, as Klaus said. I work as a freelance product manager and coach, and I like to think that I help teams to build products that make sense while having fun in the process. This is my motto. Yeah, so I've been around IT for the last 16 years in two main capacities, as a project manager and then as a product manager. I switched 7 years after I started working in IT. And I've seen quite a lot in many companies, in a 2-digit number of companies in all sizes, from startup to multi-billion-dollar companies. I counted about 11 industries that I worked in. And and I've been working Agile for also about 11 years. I've started to work Agile even in the project manager capacity, flavors of Agile. And as I said, I'm a product person for the last 9 years. And the topic for today was actually, what I would like to bring today was actually how, two main beliefs changed for me in this last 9-10 years in the last decade of working Agile and as a product manager.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, now I'm curious what you can tell us. You already said there are different interpretations, and the role itself changed for you, or you have different. You made different experiences in different companies, and let's jump right in.
Right. So one of the main beliefs that changed dramatically for me was that it's enough for a company to do some sort of a Scrum implementation to become Agile. And 2014, when I switched from project to product, that sounded legit, right? I mean, Scrum is a methodology, so it's enough to do something Scrumish. And, that's so far away from the truth based on my own experience. And I had quite a few chances in the last decade to ask companies things like, hey, why do you even want to be Agile? And what are you willing to give up on to become Agile and make benefits of agility? Are you really willing to give up on predictability, or the fake predictability that waterfall kind of gives to all of us, right? Are you willing to empower your teams, meaning giving up command and control? Are you willing to give transparency? Are you willing to embrace uncertainty? And I think this is an angle that many companies do not look at. And it's still this belief, as I call it, that it's enough to have Jira, as we were talking earlier, and to have some ceremonies and a daily, and bam, we are Agile and we are fast. And this is one of the things. And as a reference, I have this metaphor in my mind of people stuck in traffic, traffic, heavy traffic. Somebody comes by with a bike. And one of the guys in the car says, oh my God, if I had a bike, I would be so much more agile in this traffic. And he, jumps on the bike, and all of a sudden he realizes, but wait, I have no rooftop. What if it's gonna rain? What if it's gonna snow? I need a rooftop, and adds a rooftop to the bike. And then looks around and say, wait a second, but it's too much transparency. I don't feel okay here. Let's put some doors, some windows, something. And the last, he realizes, wait a second, I still have a lot of stuff to carry with me, processes, tools, legacy. Let's create a trunk for that. And you end up with a very inefficient car, not with a bike. And I think that this is, at least for me, in my mind, that really makes sense from what I've seen sometimes in the industries, with companies trying to become Agile without changing anything fundamentally. and just embracing, some processes or some forms of manifestation and not the agile values.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so you said it already in the introduction. The role you had, or the things you had to do in your PO or product manager role, so changed as well. What were your experiences regarding that?
So I think there are two aspects on this. On one hand side, Scrum itself changed, right? And there are still companies who didn't get a memo, so to say, right? There are companies who do not make the benefit of, having the whole team's brain power looking into the solution. And they still think that the PO has to write the requirements, aka user stories, with detailed acceptance criteria, and then the team has to think how they implement that, technicalities. So this separation of concern is something that in the Scrum guide, Scrum itself made a transition towards really collaborative practices between technical product user experience, and the product owner, the product manager is bringing, the direction, is bringing the why, is bringing the target to the table, and we together as a team, we look at the problem space, identify solutions, develop them, bring them, test, iterate, and so forth, right? So it's switching from the old client supplier type of mentality, the PO is a client, as I really used to hear 10 years ago, to, hey, we are in this together, we hold each other accountable, and we use all of our abilities and skills and brain power to bring value to our users and to our stakeholders. So this is one thing that changed, I would say, with the evolution of Scrum itself. This is my dog. And the other thing that changed, for me at least, was moving away from a PO understanding of roles in the sense of, you have a backlog and you have these ceremonies and you refine and you plan and then you check some stuff and you're a product manager, to embracing all, the whole value creation from product vision and strategy, product discovery, to delivery and measuring and iterating on it. And I guess there are still people out there who just do, a PO certificate and kind of miss the point that the product role is an entire world around that, right? It's so much more than that. It includes marketing, product marketing, sales, research, and that's actually the fun part of product management.
What are your experiences being a freelance product manager and seeing a lot of different companies in for a few months when you have an interim role there? Are there differences how they interpret the role of the PO, the PM?
So I don't think that changed. My understanding of what's happening in the market didn't change after I became a freelancer, which happened recently this year. But I really look back to the experience I gathered in all the companies I worked, and friends and ex-colleagues, and speaking about the industry. So I think fundamentally it's a problem which is quite alive in the DACH region, maybe a bit more than in North America. And this goes a bit in this topic of digitalization and agile transformation, big buzzwords. It's not an easy process, right? So if you're not really a startup which starts now and create stuff from scrap, and everything is fresh and new, and you have all the tools and the people and the freedom to really be agile in whatever form and shape you understand it. I think it's hard for a company with a lot of legacy and processes, and maybe in some industries when things don't change so fast, to make this mentality shift. It's a process, and I'm is neither good nor bad. It's just a process and it takes time.
Maybe in another 10 we know more, and yeah, the whole thing probably evolved.
And also, I'm sure my mentality will continue to evolve, right? I mean, it's a continuum. I can only look back and I say, hey, this is what I thought is true 10 years ago, and I don't think that's true anymore. I have no idea in 10 years what my experience will teach me. We are all in a process.
Then thank you, Ioana. We are already at the end of this short Sharing is Caring session. Very interesting insights you gave us. Everyone who's watching the video, as always, feel free to comment, give feedback, write questions. And yeah, we are interested what you have to say out there. And Ioana, thanks again for sharing your time with me and sharing your knowledge with the
Thanks
community.
again for the invite.